esports. 100 Thieves making some changes. Meteos has been benched. Stunt is out. They are currently 8th in the LCS. They lost to CLG, and of course that ridiculous game against TSM that I'm sure we're going to get to a little bit later on. Meteos tweeted and then deleted, but left a couple of other tweets up regarding this entire situation. Let's show you what was deleted, I believe. This one is no longer there. Pretty weird to hear players on my team didn't know about or agree with the decision. All credit goes to Zix, Jungle Juice, and Papa Smithy. Clearly, the people not on the team know what's best for it. Woo! He then later tweeted, I'm about to become a Pokemon Unite main. I can look forward to that. And also, maybe it's a blessing. So
there was one also there that he said it's pretty troll XD. This is a pretty troll move XD. That's the other one that we don't have that's now deleted. Is I pretty troll XD that I'm being benched again after week 3 or whatever. It was like a rhyme. Which was pretty smart.
Right.
That was the initial. That was the initial tweet before he did the one that was like calling out management. Yeah.
So what does this mean? So let's take it from the Meteos side, Emily. First, is I mean, safe to say this is the end of Meteos with 100 Thieves. I mean, this seems pretty irreparable. I mean, if I was Meteos, I wouldn't want to come back.
I mean, I think so. I listened to Papa Smithy on Travis Gafford's show Hotline League last night, and if people want to know kind of at least some of his insight, he's pretty good about keeping everything like fairly buttoned up, but he did have a lot of insight about why they made the moves, his own personal relationship with Meteos, etc. I think that 100T, I don't think, like, I think the tweet probably affected his relationship with 100T, but not irreparably, because I think, at least from what I heard from Papa Smithy, it really seemed like they were, or at least he was very understanding of the fact that, when stuff like this happens, especially since it's like the same exact time as it happened previously. And I think he probably came into this summer with the expectation that he was going to be the starter for the entirety of the split. And additionally, I mean, from my perspective, I actually think the past few games, Meteos has looked better than what he did in the first few in summer. I actually think that he was, not the problem in their most recent losses. So I mean that's really tough. I think whether he's like quote unquote done with 100T is going to depend more on him than the org ultimately. Like, I think it's going to matter if the org wants him back, because their thought process is that Contracts has been performing really well in academy. He's already been at the LCS level. He actually had a really like strong debut with C9 before moving away and kind of falling off. And then Poom, who's their one of their academy supports, who just got bumped up from their pipeline of 100T next, which is actually really cool to see. It's really cool to see that he is being given a shot. And if you want a more like a really well-written, mature statement, you should read Stunt's tweet longer about being benched, because even though Meteos has taken kind of he's taken over the conversation, right, with his reaction, Stunt has a really like a poignant, well-written thing that he came out with about his benching and how, like, it sucks, but he realizes that he has a support and safety net now. That was really good. I mean, I listened to what Papa Smithy had to say about the benchings. It's kind of worth a shot. I don't necessarily think it should be Meteos, but I'm not on the team. I think whether he comes back is going to depend on how much how angry he is and how much this affects him more than the team, if that makes sense. At least from listening to what Papa Smithy had to say, it seems like if the team wants him back, they'll definitely call him back. But that's just my perception. Again, like, as someone outside of the situation, I have no idea, but I don't necessarily think it's the end of Meteos with 100T LCS, although it very easily could be.
So this is a informed guess, given that I reported on the last time this happened, and I actually remember exactly where I was. I was at CEO 2018 and CEO 2018, and had to leave the event to go deal with it last time. Meteos and 100 Thieves broke up. And then also I've spent some time with Meteos over the years and gotten to know him a little bit. I would say the very strong social media reaction we saw, because he was probably a little triggered that it was happening again, right? Like there was definitely, and some of this was the fact that like Prolly is no longer involved in Zix and Papa Smithy. New management came in, right? Like the management that previously traded him. If you remember what happened last time, he actually was traded without being told, which there's nothing wrong with that. Like legally from a contract perspective, that can happen all at once, right? Like, but it is kind of a little bad mannered that they didn't even tell him. I don't think they needed his consent in any way, but at least give him a heads up. Like he found out through someone else, I think, not directly. So I think, yeah,
that's BM. If you find out from someone other than your management that you're getting benched or traded or something, that's BM.
Yeah, so that's what happened last time.
That should be the norm.
Yeah, that's what happened last time, and he so I think he's a little triggered that it happened this time, even though it is different management and some of the issues that existed back then were between him and Prolly and everything else, because Prolly was the coach at the time. So I think he was a little triggered that this happened, and so I get that, but also you should honestly take this a little bit more gracefully. At least they told him, right? Like at least they told him to his face that it was happening. I don't think Will is a bad person. I've been around him a lot, and I don't think he's necessarily very poor intentioned. I do think he can be a little immature and was in this instance, but yeah, I mean there should be a market for him, in my opinion. If we were to talk, Papa Smithy did say that they're kind of open to other other things on the table for him. Say if there was a team that wanted to trade for him, I think there's a market for him. He's a North American-born jungler. He doesn't. You don't have to go through any of the Meteos transfer process or any of that would come in the middle of the season that would be difficult. I definitely think that there's someone out there that would be willing to take. I think there's definitely somebody out there willing to take Meteos on.
He's so smart about the game too. He is, and I know one of the things, I think another reason why he really took this hard, and why I tend to be yes, not the best reaction you'd want, but also a little bit more lenient on this, is that, again, this is all coming from Papa Smithy and what he said. So take that into consideration. But he said that Meteos was a huge voice on this team. He was the one who was when everyone was frustrated, he's brush it off. We're going to keep practicing. We got to keep playing. He was incredibly motivated this entire split. He was definitely the team leader. And in that regard, I'm really curious to see what 100T looks like this coming week, because it's very apparent that Meteos was a huge part of whatever was going on this team, and he was really trying to be that kind of in-game leader that you would expect a veteran of his caliber to be. Meteos is actually just insanely smart about the game itself. He's someone that I would love to see. I know he was on the analyst desk previously, but I would love to see him on an analyst desk or as a coach on the regular, just because he's so incredibly smart about the game. If he ever wants to retire completely, but I'm curious about that as well, because I think one of the reasons why he took it so hard is because he was apparently the loudest voice on this team. And what's going to happen to 100T now, where they don't have that super loud voice with contracts and Poon coming in? Who is going to be that voice? Because I know I actually love contracts as well. And talking to him, I know previously one of the things that he always talked about as a deficiency that he was trying to work on in his own play was being a better shot caller, being a louder voice, taking a lot more responsibility and action behind what the team is doing, especially in the early to mid game. So I'm curious to see how they work as a support jungle duo, and I'm curious to see how cohesive the team looks like going forward without Meteos, since he was such a large voice.
Who is the
he also
IGL
by
in
the
this
way,
team?
I just want to mention, he chose 100 Thieves over a couple different teams, including Dignitas, throughout the offseason. So maybe things would have gone better with Spring Dignitas with him instead of Grig. I don't know how much better we could have like assessed that, right? But like I don't think Greg did very well in the spring split either. So I think like Meteos, like there was definitely some baggage to get over before coming back to 100 Thieves.